Hello, hello, hello. How is everybody doing? Welcome to another session of Watching Paint Dry. My apologies for the late start. Unfortunately, work is kind of nuts as of late. I work in software, and we specialize in health insurance software for large major carriers and providers. So, as you can imagine, things get crazy all the time. So, apologize. I was on a call. So I'm wondering how everyone's week has been. You know, we're kind of sorry about that. We're kind of like on to a good start here. It's 2021. This is the year of the new apocalypse. And we're gonna pay attention to that. Who knows what that's gonna entail these days, right? So many things are gonna be happening. So many things. We have a new president starting soon. We've got our next set of riots, which are going to be interesting. So everyone's got to stay safe. And obviously, we still have the coronavirus out there. So please be safe. Don't go outside. Stay alive. I honestly feel like I'm talking to people who are living The Walking Dead right now. Who knew? It's crazy. So, I guess today what we're going to do is we're going to continue the series that I've been starting. So, I've been working on Dark Rituals, Malleus Maleficarum, and it's a really fantastic game. I was reading up a little bit more about the rules with a friend of mine the other day, and we were trying to check that out and see how cool it was going to be. All right, unfortunately, I don't know. I'm having some trouble here with my camera. I thought it was working before. I did shift a lot of things over, so I apologize. Let's see what's going on here. Why is this not coming in? So we're going to figure this out real fast. Anyway, while I'm waiting for this to find out what's going on with this, let's talk about what the game is going to be about. So this game is all about how... Oh, I think I found the problem. This game is all about one player playing the witch and all the witch's little minions and bibbles and baubles and all kinds of things, and boil, boil, toil, and trouble. So, what happens is the player who plays the witch will, want to knock the player who does not play who's playing the players out. So you could be playing multiple roles or not multiple roles. Really, it's whatever strikes the fancy at the time. So, wonder why this is still not coming through. All right, we're having some technical difficulties here. I apologize, everybody. All right, we're going to transition back to my main call then while I wait and figure this out. Whoops. Sound off in the comments if you have any cool games that you want to play, want to paint up, things that you want to see this year. There's a lot of cool games coming out on the Kickstarter, and all kinds of cool fun stuff is coming along. So let's sound off in those comments. See what are you guys waiting for? Here we go. All right, figured it out. And we're good. So, as you can see, I've been actually priming some random war elements of this game recently, so we're going to move these out of the way for a little bit, because I do have to prime them up some more, and I was fixing my airbrush during that. I also decided to paint up this wolf, right? So I did a little bit of gray, a little dark brown on him, just like really just get a little bit of all kinds of color in there. Then I'm going to start on the base. So I have been doing a lot of the regular guys, these like, you know, these regular dudes coming up here, as you can see. I have been painting a lot of them, you know, even in the back there, if you want to take a look. I did paint a lot of them up. Just so, you know, we're going to pay attention to the characters on this stream, where getting the normal dudes, I'm going to start painting those myself. So as you can see here, these are the characters that we did last time. I did do a little bit of oil washing on them, so I'm going to pull them off here, off my little sticky tape, if it'll come up, because we're going to, whoa, this is some good 3M sticky tape. This is normally not that rough to get off. So our next step is we're going to pull off some of this oil. So I don't know if anyone has an experience with oil painting, but I usually do these little makeup brushes, right? So this little makeup brush, you purchase them, and they're pretty good for pulling off oil paint. So what I did is, on this oil wash, is I took a little methylated, it's like some mineral spirits, some like white spirits as it's preferred, you know, as it's named, right? And I mixed it with some oil paint, right? So, and it gives this like really rough texture here, as you can see, right? You can see that. It's like it's dark, dirty. It looks like it went through, he went through the mud now, right? So what we do is we take this little brush and then we just gently rub it on those spots. And we pull a little bit off, right? So what we're doing is, I don't know if you can really see how easy it is. Just pulling out. We'll do it over here on his skin, right? So his skin, we want to pull off some of that oil. We don't want to go too hard. The harder you go, you're going to pull off the actual paint. So as you can see, I did not pull off a little bit of paint. I just pulled off some of that oil. So now we have some of that. See the oil, a little bit of oil is coming off, which is great. Now, if you really wanted to, you can dip into the spirits just a little bit. So I have a little spirit on the end of this. Get as much of that off as I can, and then just rub that wet spirit on there. And as you can see now, I'm really pulling some of that off. Right, so we get that going here. Just get some of this off as much as we can all over the place. Get it in those like rough areas that we don't want too much grittiness in. Kind of how it goes here. Keep going. It honestly looks pretty good with the grittiness. We don't need to take a lot of it off, honestly. In my honest opinion, that's how I like it, right? He looks rather grisly, if it were. Leave a comment if you think I should just let him go here. Keep him this way. Does he look good? Does he look not? Should we continue? I think we're going to still add some blood effects on his axe. Little blood effects on the heads, but other than that, I think he's done. Sound off, what do you think? Let us know in the comments. So for this guy, we're going to put a little methylated spirits on the brush, wipe as much of that off, and then we're going to just dust his face, because his face is a little dark. And we don't need that darkness there, right? So as you can see, as we pull things off, you know, you'll see it will get pulled off, right? So let's go right here, right? So this is really a good prime example of it being able to come off. You can see that at that end area right there is coming off a little bit, right? So I dip it in the spirits again, drag some of that spirit off, and then we're going to try to get right in there with it, because it looks like there is a spot in which I want to get some of that out. Another way to do this is you could take a brush that you used to do this with, dip it in the spirits a little bit, and then brush it off. Right? Another way of doing it is when you want to get more pinpointy with how things are. See? So now we've got good ratio there. He still looks pretty gritty, which is okay. I normally don't let him dry too as long as I've done, so this could be a symptom of that. You know, looks like these oils are baked in today, which is okay. I think he looks pretty good, honestly. I don't really want to pull too much of this off. We don't need to, right? So let me just zoom out a little bit so things are in here. Here we go. We don't really need to pull off too much, so realistically, it's okay that he's the way he is. So this is really just a really good way of making things gritty, look really nice, mat it down a little bit, right? Just really grit the guy up a little bit. So right there, I do want to take that off, right? We don't want that chunky spot. Now again, this is the beautiful thing about working with oils, is a little methylated spirit pulls that right off. And it isn't like, instead of working with like acrylic washes, acrylic wash will end up pooling and be stuck there. You'd have to go over it. With this, a little pooling, you just put a little spirit on there, rub it out. May take a little bit sometimes, but it eventually comes off. We're gonna grab a Q-tip. Oh, as I knock everything over. Dip the Q-tip in our spirits, get a little bit of that off, and then this is a stubborn one. Maybe this isn't even oil. Maybe something got in it while it was drying. So, just gonna do our best. We can either paint over it later. We can use it as a mark, whatever we want. Put a little blood on it. Why not? This is how you cover up mistakes. Put some blood on it. So, I think he is good. So, our next steps here. Oh, so the difference between these two guys is I don't want to put eyes on our executioner. He looks grisly. He looks mean. We don't need to see his eyes, right? So from this instance, he looks like, you know, he should be, and he should be kind of evilish, right? You know, he's not happy, not in a good mood. He's executing things, right? No? Trying to attack witches. Who needs to see his eyes? He needs to be menacing. Menacing is the word. This is more like a rogue character, you know, or maybe a rangery type kind of a guy. But his nothing's covering his eyes, so his, you know, we want to see his eyes, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my fancy brush here, and that oil wash that we did kind of like filled up this area with a little bit of darkness. But what we're gonna do, anywho's is add a little bit more darkness there because we kind of need to. So there's a couple options that we're going to do here. First things first is I like to use, I wonder if I have it nearby. Pretty sure I do. Normally do. Maybe I moved it. Oh, I moved it down here. Here we are. I'm going to take my trusty dusty Rhinox hide. It's by Citadel. Okay. And I'm going to put a little bit in my pot here. By the way, this is not Game Master Dave's live show, just chatting. This is watching paint dry. I was told someone was going to do that for me, but unfortunately they didn't. That's okay. So who's watching? Sound off in the comments. So we got a little bit of paint there. So it's a little bit. We're going to take a little bit of water. Going to thin this down just a smidge. In our little paint tray. Get as much off of this brush as we can. Just put a little bit on the end of the brush. And now here's where you want to do is you want to darken the eye socket. Oh, you can't see it, sorry. So what you want to do is you want to kind of darken the eye socket, right? So it looks like where he puts the eye, you know, we're going to flip this upside down and we're going to do the other side. So now, as you can see, we got like a dark eye sockets right there. So now we kind of take away the brown. And now what we're going to do is I like to use is this ivory color, model color, ivory. It's like a creamy kind of a color. Gotta shake it up really good or else it comes out all weird. Make sure you always shake your paints. You want them to come out nice. It's very important. I don't know if you're a hockey fan or not, but the Islanders are winning at the end of the first period 3-0. Very exciting. If you're a Rangers fan, I am sorry. It's not my fault. So Islanders are doing pretty good this last year, so let's see how they do this year. I don't know if you're a hockey fan or not, but if you are, you know. You know. It's a Cinderella story. It is a Cinderella story. Okay. So now you can see what's going on here. I got the cream color on my paintbrush. We see his eyes are dark. Looks like one eye is a little darker than the other, which is fine. Got a little bit, just if you can see my paint, the tip of my paintbrush, just a little bit on that paintbrush, as you can see, right? Just a dab, just perfect, right? So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna get in real close. See if I can focus up. I like to position it so I'm holding something behind it. We're gonna color a little bit in. Now this is an easy mistake to make, right? So as you can see, I put a little bit too much there. It doesn't look like natural, like an eye, right? So I'm gonna put some water on my brush, take some of that white off. I'm gonna go back in and grab just a little bit more of that white and put it here. Brush as much of it off as I can, and then we're gonna go for the other side. Now, some of the reasons why this is an easy mistake to fix is because we have that dark color behind it, right? Fixes it up real easy. So that one's a little bit better, as you can see. So his eyes, very white. So far, so good. So we're going to just take a little bit of this brown again. We're going to get a little bit of wetness on our brush. We're going to go back in, right? So we're going to get some of it on the brush here. So let's see, I got some on. This brown is luckily still a little bit of it's wet, but our brush is too wet. So we may have a problem. Houston, we have an issue. We may need to get a little bit more Rhinox hide in here. I think it's okay. I think we're going to be fine. So let's get that in there, right? Here's what you do. See what I did? Just a little correction from the inside to the outside. Barely even noticeable, but to me it is. So we got that, we got our ivory in there, we got that. What color do we want his eyes to be? I think let's go with Geralt's blue. Maybe you get him a blue iris. I think that may be cool. I've never done a blue eyes before. I've done brown and black, never done blue. So I think we're gonna try something new today. Who's with me? Maybe we can give him green. You know what though? Let's take a look at his photo. Let's see what color his eyes are. His eyes look almost orange to me. They're not brown. They're an orangey color. So maybe let's go with a like a reddish orange, almost a brown, just because that's what it looks like, right? So let's do that. So, oh no, looks like we're gonna have battery power issues here. I thought I charged this battery. Was it on the whole time? Okay, well, I'm going to go until that battery dies. Anyway, so let's get this Auburn brown in here. So, let's get my orange color down here. Yeah. I've got this squig orange and this corn red. So I think these two are going to be very good colors for this. So we got squig orange. And then we got corn red. And these colors are pretty decent for what we're looking for here. So let's just take a dab of this corn red. Put this here. Brush, take that off the brush. And wipe the brush off. And then let's take, gotta shake up this squig orange. Take a little bit of that squig orange, put that here too. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make this iris very red. And then we're gonna pull a little bit of orange down in the bottom like left corners. Okay? So follow along. You want to make your brush really wet, and you're going to want to get some paint at the tip of that brush. Take some of that paint off so you're not going crazy. Get that tip really pointy. And then what we're going to want to do here, okay, is just tap the center. It's not really coming out well. Sorry, boy. Sorry for that. Let's get some of that water off. Get some of that water in there. So we're going to want to tap the center. See, we came up a little bit too much, but it's fine. Easily correctable. So we're going to hit this again right here. Tap this in. So we got some red eyes. Very cool. So now what we're going to do, so we're going to find that Rhinox hide. Take a little bit of that out. Put that back on our palette here. Get some water on that palette. Mix into that Rhinox hide. Dry off the brush a little bit, mix it in again. And get a thick amount on, right? So we can do our correction. Just really point that tip of that brush, right? So here's our correction that's going to get done. Just trying to be able to see this. Sorry, I'm doing that off camera right now. It's tough to see. So, all right. Looks like one side's a little bit deeper than the other. So why don't we add some white instead to that, right? And this way, you can balance the two sides out. So get some of that white off of your brush. And then let's go in here real fast. Tap it. Right. So as you can see, pull a little bit of that in on the left hand side there. So I'm going to pull in a little bit more. This is a tough one to get on camera. Sorry, peeps. Good correction. There we go. Looks okay to me. Boom. Perfect. So now we've gotten that. We want to get a little bit of that orange on our brush here. Make sure the brush is nice and wet so it falls right off. Because we are literally doing a tiny, tiny amount of this orange. Very tiny. Now his eyes look like cartoon characters' eyes. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back in here real fast. That Rhinox hide. So sometimes it's a hit or miss, right? Sometimes you just got to play around with it. Pull it back in, pull it back out. It's a process. You're never going to get it perfect the first time. And some people do. And those people are friggin' masters. I mean, he kind of looks like a cartoon. Just a little bit. His eyes are bug-eyed. He's like, I'm ready to go. Right? So let's pull these eyes in just a little bit. A little bit of that Rhinox hide. And now we pull that white back down on that, just a little bit on the tip of the brush. Of course, it would help if it was wet. I always recommend using some sort of flow improver maybe, because it has a natural retarder in it. Keeps your paint wet longer. So we're going to drop a little bit of flow improver on our palette here. See if we can keep our paints alive a little longer. We don't want all this paint on here. And of course we mess everything up. It's too wet. So luckily, it's still wet from the retarder and has not dried yet. So we're just going to put a little water on our brush, pull that off. Doing eyes on camera is very difficult. It's not the easiest thing in the world. So let's see. So far, so good. He looks nitty gritty. He looks evil. I'll take it. So we're going to take some of this ivory next. Give him a stash. Because it looks like he's supposed to have one, right? And let's get that over here. face is a mess right now. Just get some of this white paint right here. Some white paint. There we go. White paint. We're going to come back in here with our flesh tone. Blot his lips later. But right now, we're going to let that dry. We're going to call him 95% done. For this guy, I'm going to take this white paint that we just had here. We're just going to gently highlight his beard. We're just going to pull some of this off with my brush so we don't have too much going on here. Right, pull that a little bit. Let's do the same thing over here. Some of this hair. Just give it a little bit of a eye draw. You could even do these on the hair with like, just like a dry brush if you really wanted to. All right. We're gonna wait on him too. So while we wait on those people, let's start on some new one. All right. Let's see. What do we want to start on? New character. Out of the pool of characters here. Let's check it out. We have the Crusader. We have, I would say that she's like a rangery type person with a hand crossbow. Triple hand crossbow. Pretty sick. So we have Wolverine origin story. We'll call him Wolfgarine. Some Amazonian person. Remember, these are all witch hunters, basically, from this game. We have this person with her awesome crossbow. We have this person with her wrist crossbow. We have, like, a Thor-type character, hammer and shield. And I think what I want to do is I'd like to paint one of the base members of the game as well, which is this guy. So the base members of the game are this gentleman, this guy, this female, I believe, and this person. Those are the base members of the game. So we're going to get them painted up first. So let's start with this gentleman. As you can see, I have actually already started. I had some paint on my palette at one point. Didn't want it to go to waste. Found this guy on the table and just went to town. So we're going to go with this guy because he looks cool and definitely going to be a really good cleric type character for D&D. As you can see, he's very, very cool. Very cool. So let's get some paint on this guy. So first things first, let's get out his card so that we can see what he looks like. His name is Walgar. Walgar. I don't know where that stems from, but Walgar is his name. And the battery is dead. And I'm sorry, folks. It seems that my camera decided to have some power issues today. I did charge it up, so I must take a look and see what happened with my charger. If my charger unplugged itself or not, that's on me. So next week, we'll come back, do this again. It'll be better. It'll be faster. It'll be longer. All things I probably don't want to say most days, but did it today. Faster and longer doesn't make sense together. So we're just going to do it better next week. So tomorrow morning, catch Rich, myself, Dave, and John for Over Coffee, where we talk about the happenings in the industry. Tomorrow night, you're going to have basically D&D with Rich and his team. They're going to have a lot of fun doing that. And other than that, everyone should stay classy and paint away.